Everybody, thanks for joining us. This is Q&A and anything goes. So go ahead and unmute yourself or type in. Is it okay? Thanks.
And go ahead, Sandra, then Megan.
Hey, Sandra.
Hi, Greg. I need your advice.
Okay.
My husband was out hiking a couple of days ago and had a bad fall. Did it really on himself. He sprained and both wrists actually cracked his right wrist, cut himself up. But the biggest problem is he did something to his back, and they don't know whether he cracked a rib or not, but he can't take a deep breath without a lot of pain. They've checked him, they've x-rayed him. He doesn't have a pneumothorax or anything like that. And the doctor did say that he had, he could feel kind of a spasm back by his spine. And the pain started out near his spine and has gone kind of under the scapula and then around to the front. So I think it's probably referred pain. I put marjoram on it, for the spasm. And I've treated him for other things. I really don't know what to do about the.
So I mean, there's always the potential for something like that where the rib could be fractured, but more likely it's a thing where there's these little muscles in between the ribs. And they're called the intercostals and like intercostals, like they're kind of like the muscles between the bones in your hand or on your feet or something, but in the ribs. And what can happen is you develop intercostal neuralgia, which is basically like an inflamed nerve, but in that area, it's very painful. It's not like it doesn't mean something bad's going to happen. It's just it's bad because it's like every breath hurts. Like it's just like you almost start kind of breathing shallow because you want to elevate or expand the rib cage too much.
That's exactly what's happening.
Yeah, so that's intercostal neuralgia, and most times, excuse me, it can happen with like a coughing fit or like a misalignment with the bone, but a lot of times it's usually from a fall. And where like the rib cage got hit or compressed, like so if you fell and like hit a rock or twisted or even just hitting the ground in a particular way. So the intercostal neuralgia, you'll want to use things that are anti-inflammatory, but to the nerve themselves. So there's the pain relief neuropathic. You don't have that. Like things that have mint in it, like peppermint, spearmint, corn mint. All of those will reduce some of the pain and reduce the inflammation. One of the better combinations it's part of that pain relief neuropathic. I keep saying neuropathic, but it's neuropathic pain. Is that it's also got a bit of helichrysum in it, which I would use for a lot of this. It's still antispasmodic, but it reduces the inflammation, and there's probably a little bit of like some fascia or connective tissue that went into spasm. And it is good for reducing the nerve pain, but in that blend, it's also got a little bit of clove oil, and clove oil you don't want to put directly on the skin just because it's real hot. You usually want to mix it in with some other oils and then topically with some, massage oil, lotion, something like that. But let's try to have you use what you have. And so do you have any form of like peppermint, corn mint?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Okay.
I've used peppermint on him. I don't have the pain relief neuropathic. I do have clove.
Like you could put maybe 3 or 4 drops of the peppermint and maybe just 1 drop of clove and then rub some massage oil or lotion on it and
Okay.
rub the area. Um,
Tomato
uh,
oil, would that be a
oh
good?
yeah, that'd be great. Yeah. If you have a little bit of helichrysum, you could add a little bit of that to it.
Okay.
Very common when a person falls that because you're trying to catch yourself or brace yourself or you hit or whatever, very common for back and shoulder issues to come out of it. It could be a twist, it could be a strain, a sprain, something of that nature. Marjoram was a very good thing to go to. But you might need to use a little bit of helichrysum, and I'd say maybe about a week out, even use like terebinth or something like that, or if you don't have terebinth, maybe
I do.
ginger. Okay, terebinth, maybe not immediately, but a few days out.
Okay.
Like how long ago did this happen?
It's about 3 days.
Maybe a couple more days, and you can start using the terebinth.
Yeah.
The other thing that I would give him some galbanum internally or several drops on the wrist, and it will have pain relieving effect. It will
Okay.
reduce some tension in the body. Like even when you feel like, oh, I don't really have that much pain, and you take a few drops of galbanum, it's like, oh boy, there was a ton of tension there. That it's just the pain kind of triggers this response, and it lessens the intensity of the pain. And so,
Okay.
if it starts to be prolonged, you can start using things like the black cumin or something like that. But I think you have enough things in place to where this could be enough.
Okay.
But the breathing is going to be an issue for a little while. I had intercostal neuralgia when I was about, I don't know, 15. And, I had all kinds of doctors look at it and everything. And it's just one of those things that you just kind of have to suffer through it. Like there's no really great way. I mean, in really extreme cases, sometimes they'll tape the ribs up so you don't expand the rib cage very much, but you're basically making the person just take shallow breaths for a while.
Yeah,
And
that's what he's doing.
when the pain is that bad, that's kind of what happens for
Yeah.
them.
Yeah.
And so the quicker you can get it under control, the more that won't impact, his breathing and his overall vitality. But yeah, the wrist,
His wrist, I have to tell you, he is literally black and blue from
yeah,
his fingers to his elbows. I mean, black.
yeah.
And I put some lymph on it, and I, massaged it up
Mhm.
a couple of times, and surprisingly, that's really helped with the swelling.
Yeah,
And
yeah, yeah.
and he could use a bucket of helichrysum. I only
Yeah.
have about 5 ml. So is there anything else?
So yeah, so if the skin is not broken, instead of using helichrysum for like the bruising and just to like break all that kind of stuff up, you could use hyssop. If the skin is broken, don't put it on the areas where the skin is broken, but areas where there's no break in the skin, you could go kind of crazy with the hyssop, and it would be helpful. Yeah.
Okay, I have more of that. So
Yeah, yeah, and it's significantly less expensive.
yeah.
So it makes it kind of a good thing with something like this. Um, after the pain diminishes, I would do some things to deepen his breath because he's going to be breathing shallow for a while. But that's probably like a month down the line.
Yeah, I taught him pranic breathing, and he usually does that on a regular basis, but he just can't do that now.
Yeah,
So,
yeah.
yeah. So I did some pranic breathing on his fractured wrist, but I can't really use that where it is because it's near the heart. So, could you use kind of orange yellow? And I understand that's not good to use around.
It's on the wrist, you said?
Well, yeah, he fractured his wrist. So I did some pranic some pranic healing on the
Right.
fractured wrist. But if he has a fractured rib, it's close to his heart. So I wasn't sure if that, I didn't think I should do that.
Given the pain pattern and that it kind of radiates around, it's
Mhm.
probably intercostal neuralgia.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
I mean, you can do things to calm it down, like green, blue, violet, energetically.
Okay.
Do that just to calm the area down. But
Okay.
it's like it's healing, but getting irritated with every breath. You know what I mean? It's there's a few conditions that they're just hard to deal with because there's no turning that mechanism off in the body or arresting it. It's not like you can go, don't breathe for a couple of days and you're gonna feel fine. It's just not gonna happen. So
What do you think about a gentle massage? Do you think that would be helpful or harmful?
I probably wouldn't rub it too much. Like I would just rub it to put the ointment on and I'd let it be. It's probably pretty inflamed right now, like maybe in a little while, but there is ways to go through and treat like intercostal neuralgia, but you would either have to use like the tip of your thumb or like the tip of your finger and just gently go like press for about 5 to 10 seconds and then move about an inch and then press. And you basically just have to follow the rib cage around, that rib around. But the pressure would be probably about the weight of a nickel. Like it's not very much pressure. Like rubbing, maybe not the best, but like just down and then up and then move a little bit and then down. And then if there's something really sore, just don't really rub it for very long. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right.
Yeah, it's too bad. Like the other thing that if he fell that hard and injured his wrists, he's going to have some shoulder issues. Like, it might not be now, it might be in a couple months. I'd start treating him now. Like just like either put like marjoram or terebinth all over his shoulders, clean his armpits with, pH and the front and the shoulder blade. Just clean all that stuff up.
Okay.
Yeah.
A good idea. Yeah.
Yeah. Like it's better to treat it before than after it manifests.
Right. Thanks so much.
You're so welcome. Keep us posted.